Well, I started out down a dirty road. Started out all alone, and the sun went down as I crossed the hill, and the town lit up. The world got still. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Well, the good old days may not return, and the rocks might melt, and the sea may burn. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Some say life will beat you down, break your heart, steal your crown. So I've started out for God knows where. I guess I'll know when I get there. I'm learning to fly around the clouds, but what goes up must come down. The hardest thing. I'm learning to fly around the clouds, but what goes up must come down. I'm learning to fly. I'm learning to fly. up on Salisbury Hill. I could see the city light. Wind was blowing, time stood still. Eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe. Came in close, I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve. I had to listen, had no choice. I did not believe the information, just had to trust imagination. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Son, he said, grab your things, I've come to take you home. To keep in silence, I resigned. My friends would think I was a nut, turning water into wine. Open doors would soon be shut. So I went from day to day. My life was in a rut, till I thought of what I'd say, which connection I should cut.
Well, we know where we're going, but we don't know where we've been. And we know what we're knowing, but we can't say what we've seen. And we're not little children, and we know what we want, and the future is certain. Give us
Sometimes on our journey through life, we meet people who leave footprints on our mind. They challenge us to see things differently and to question our personal reality. Sometimes on our journey through life, we meet people who leave footprints on our heart. They create a safe place for us to open our hearts, to feel loved and special. Then sometimes on our journey through life, we meet people who leave footprints on our souls. They share themselves with us so profoundly that they touch the very essence of who we are in that secret, quiet place. Dave has left gentle footprints on the minds, hearts, and souls of everyone here today. May we always remember the beauty of his love, his kindness, and the special way that he touched our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come together this afternoon to celebrate the life of a special person, David Alexander Gilmore, Dave, as he was known to all. On behalf of the family, I welcome you and thank you for being here with them today. I also welcome all those watching online, especially Dave's workmates in Western Australia. It has been a tough journey for the family since Dave passed away in Dalgaranga, Western Australia, on the 12th of June. But the kindness of you people, friends and family who have supported them during this difficult time is very much appreciated and has been and will continue to be consolation to them later during those inevitable moments of grief and emptiness. The family warmly invites you to join them at the Bottom Pub to share your stories of Dave and raise a glass in his memory. This memorial service has many purposes. Of course, it is for the reverent farewell of Dave, but it also recognises and acknowledges the value of his life, and it confirms that life has ended. It will help us all to face the reality of his death. No matter whatever the relationship you had with Dave, his passing has broken in upon it. This celebration of his life will give us the opportunity to reflect upon the hole that is left with the passing of a much-loved husband, father, granddad, brother, and friend. It is a chance to remember how a spark of divine energy from a determined and strong person made our world a better place. The hurt is almost unbearable, yet we will live through it. It is because you feel such deep pain. It is because the inner ache is so great that we realise how much we loved him. And yet, the agony inside gives us strange comfort. It tells us how much we will miss him. We really wouldn't want it to be any other way, because the grief and the heartache we feel bears witness to the depths of our love. We know that thoughts of him will forever bring us comfort. Grief is a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. Grief is not a disorder or a disease. It is an emotional, physical, and spiritual necessity. It is the price you pay for love. The only cure for grief is to grieve. Born on the 5th of September 1957, the fourth of 5 children in Hobart to Cliff and Kath. Dave spent his early years in Queenstown, attending St Joseph's Catholic School, where, believe it or not, he had aspirations of becoming the Pope. He spent a couple of years as a boarder at Marist Regional College with his brother Cliff, where he decided that being the Pope wasn't actually for him. He then returned to Queenstown to finish his schooling at Murray High School. He was a bit of a lad. He liked playing footy on the gravel, loved motorbikes, and found a passion for the music of Led Zeppelin. At the age of 15, Dave followed in his father's footsteps and joined the Navy, training in Western Australia. Wanting to be on a boat and to travel the world, when it didn't turn out quite that way, he returned to his home and his family that were at Sisters Beach Shop and took up a job with National Parks and Wildlife, constructing tracks and general maintenance, a job he really loved. They later moved to Park Street in Wynyard. A young lass named Vicky used to muck around with Dave's sister, Kathy. And on one occasion after they'd been to the beach, they met up with Dave and his mate as they were coming out of the pub. A deal was struck. Give us a lift home and I'll take you for a ride on my bike. So in he hopped, and he found Vicky's green crocheted bikini. And he quickly blurted, "Well, I want to see you in this." And the rest, as they say, is history. This was in 1978. 9 months later, on the 20th of January 1979, Vicky and Dave married at the Church of England in Wynyard and settled into married life with ease. Moving to Savage River, times were sometimes tough. Everything they owned was second-hand, except the brand new stereo. Music played such a huge part in their lives. Christy was born in 1980 in April and Ray in March 1982, and their family was complete. The 2-door lime green Charger, what a beast. There was a time when driving down through the Hellier Gorge, and after overtaking quite a few vehicles, Dave realised he needed to pee. But was he going to stop? No bloody way. So instead, his brother-in-law John hurriedly made a funnel for him to pee into while driving. Well, this was not very successful. And so when he realised it wasn't his smartest decision, he decided he needed to stop to finish the stream. And boy, was he pissed off, literally, when all the cars he'd passed sped past him, laughing and jeering and beeping their horns at him. Can't you just imagine it? Dave worked as a machinery operator with the mine for nigh on 10 years, until a move was made to Mount Hicks, where Vicky took on the role of caring for her sick uncle's animals. Farm life really suited the family, running beef cattle and pigs and cropping. The kids thrived on farm life and had a wonderful and colourful upbringing, learning lots of skills that would take them into the future. Sadly, 15 years to this very day, Ray was tragically taken in a motorbike accident, and the family was left devastated. Later today, Dave will get his wish. Get me scorched and sprinkle me on Ray. A move to a bush block in Aldina saw Dave build a big shed, and he happily set about tree felling and lumber work. At one stage, he worked in Smithton with Ray before moving to South Elliott, where he became a plantation supervisor with Forestry Enterprises. Working alongside Ray and Christy and their friends, They made a top crew. They had many laughs and made great memories. A highlight was the Argo, the amphibious bike that saw many adventures. It was always a blast, as Dave was always known as a bit of a risk taker, and he loved life in the fast lane. He used to wonder where his son got it from. After 25 years of marriage, Dave and Vicky divorced, and Dave later headed to Western Australia. To say Dave had a huge work ethic is a massive understatement. He loved work and was always busy. A big man with a big heart. Quick-witted, he turned shit-stirring into an art form, and he accumulated things. He loved to fish, but honestly, does anyone need 40 fishing rods? He had at least 3 of everything, and when asked why so many of each thing, he would simply reply, "Because I can." At one stage, instead of washing the sheets, it was simply, "Fuck it, I'll just go and buy some more." Dave loved the outdoors. Fishing, fires and cooking were later in life a huge passion. One of his last toys was an electric reel to make the fishing easier. He loved people and people loved him. He loved drinking beer, Bruce Lee, Collingwood, especially Peter Dacos. Really in all, he just loved life. And he loved his family. He loved Brooke, affectionately calling her his little bugger. He bought her anything she wanted and was totally devoted to her. Dave had spent about 10 years with various mining companies in Western Australia, the last 4 years being at the Dalgaranga gold mine, where he was recently made a shift supervisor, highly respected by his co-workers who learnt so much from him. His sense of humour was legendary. Not everyone could get away with wearing a pink G-string instead of the required COVID mask, but it was 4 days before the mine management realised what he was doing. A well-played protest, it was said. Never having had a sick day in his life, Dave's death was sudden and unexpected, and still hard to comprehend. His plan to return to Tassie never eventuated, and the world lost an absolute legend, a rough diamond with a heart of gold, forever loved and sadly missed. Rest in peace, Dave. His little bugger, granddaughter Brooke, is going to come forward for a tribute.
My granddad was the best man on earth. I say heaps of people at school are my best friends, but my only true friend was my granddad. I'm the luckiest person in the world to be calling David my granddad. I love my granddad with all of my heart, and it was so sad to find out the news. It was really hard on my family, but we are getting better now. I have so many memories with granddad. One of my favourite memories with him was when I was about 8, maybe 9. Granddad had come down in the school holidays, but the same holidays Granddad had surprised me by picking me up from school. I was so surprised to see him there. I didn't expect him to be there, and I wasn't told about it. He loved to surprise me with things like that. Like one morning I was up early, but Mum was still asleep and Granddad was awake, which was weird because Granddad loved to sleep in. Granddad came and asked me if I wanted to go get a toy from Toys R Us and Bernie. So we set off in the car towards Bernie. But first off, we made a stop at the electrician's shop and got Mum the super cool stereo. And finally the moment I had been waiting for. We arrived at the toy shop. I ran in there as fast as I could and looked at all the sick toys. Granddad said I could get anything I want. P.S. He really loved to spoil me, if you couldn't already tell. I remember I got this massive Sylvanian family set and a Hatchimal. Then, after that, we went to the new built Burning Park and I was playing on the circle swing thing and Granddad was pushing me far. I was going so far, but then Granddad had to have a smoke. So he went back to his car and I went and waited in the car, already trying to open the Sylvanian family set. I was so excited after Granddad finished his smoke, which felt forever to wait for. We were off again in the cool hired car, all the way back to Mum's house. And as soon as I got home, I rushed inside with the Sylvanian set and set it all up and was playing with it for hours and after hours. Then I got bored and tired. But then I remembered I had a Hatchimal to hatch. So I opened the box and I remembered being so confused about it. But luckily Granddad read the instructions on it so I could open it. Ever since I could remember, Granddad was always there for me. I was so sad. That was the last time I saw him. If I would have known it would have been my last, I would have made it the best time possible. But I love Granddad with all my heart, and I'm sure you guys did too.
Well done, Brooke. I have a tribute from Phil, Joe, Oogie, Richard and Alicia Stewart, which reads, Dave was definitely your bloke's bloke. First of all, Dave loves his family, but he can also fell a tree, drive a dozer and rev up an excavator. He grew spuds, peas and who knows what else. He loved riding his motorbike and fishing too. One fond memory of Dave was when we were working the ground for the spuds at night together on 2 tractors. It was really foggy, so while drinking a few beers on the tractors, we lost each other in the paddocks as we couldn't see a thing. Many late nights spent at the Gilmore's house drinking, always had lamb chops or steak and chips for tea. Dave could and would fall asleep anywhere, and that's where you left him overnight, with a rug over him if he was lucky. It's been an honour knowing Dave. He was a great mate. And from Dave's friends and workmates in Western Australia, it reads, we would like to offer our condolences to David's family and friends. We have known Dave for many years. Troy gave him the nickname Happy, as he always had a smile on his face and he was always happy. Dave was a down-to-earth bloke that you could sit around a fire with, have a few 4Xs with, but he also loved a fancy Jacks or two and a port on a cold night. Dave and Troy loved their Harleys and would ride their bikes together as often as they could. Kat could always hear Dave's bike way down the road before he arrived. Dave and Troy were right into their drones for different reasons. Troy just loved to fly them, but Dave took it to a whole new level, seriously getting into drone fishing. He made us laugh with his different rigs and setups and getting more and more into it, until he finally bought himself an electric reel and fancy rod with lithium batteries. These guys shared so many passions together. It was a never-ending story of the latest fire pit one of them had bought so that the other one had to buy it too. They both had a love for fires and so many each to burn some wood in for the warmth or the atmosphere, or to cook the best steak on. We had many identical fire and cooking things. Dave loved to shop. He was forever texting Kat, "Look out for my latest parcel," and then he'd crack up laughing. "This one's a beauty." But sometimes the items were awesome, but other times they were a flop, so he would get a good laugh out of it. Happy was family to all of us. We saw him many times when he was home. He was a larrikin with a heart of gold. He loved to stir Troy up all the time and would often pop over and say, "Kat, you'll love me. I've bought Troy a new project to fit, fix or modify. It will keep him out of your hair this break." And then David just crack up. Troy loved helping him with his new projects or to help fix things, just enjoying the time they spent together. Dave's latest project for Troy was to rebuild the Goldwing. How much fun they had riding the Goldwing when he first bought it. He was going to drop it off to Troy to rebuild it and get it running on all 4 cylinders. It was his latest love. Happy will be forever with us. He always and forever will have that special place in our heart. Gone, but never forgotten. We miss him every day. We now have the privilege to look at photographs of aspects of Dave's life that have been collected from the family album. The beautiful songs that have been chosen to support these photos are "I'm Too Sexy" by Right Said Fred and "Thank You" by Led Zeppelin.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me. So sexy it hurts, and I am too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan. And I am too sexy for your party, too sexy for your party, the way I'm disco dancing. I'm a model, you know what I mean, and I do my little turn
refused to shine, I would still be loving you. When mountains crumble to the sea, there will still be you and me. Kind of woman, I give you my all. Kind of woman, nothing more.
Little drops of rain, whisper of the pain, tears of love lost in the days gone by. My love is strong, here there is no wrong. Together we shall go until we die.
My inspiration's what you are to me. Inspiration, look, see. And so today my world, it smiles. Your hand in mine, we walk the miles. But thanks to you, it will be done. For you to me are the only one. All right, yeah. Happiness, no more be sad. Happiness, I'm glad. If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. Mountains crumble to the sea, there will still be you and me.
What beautiful memories are contained within those photos, radiating love and warmth. We can shed tears that he is gone, or we can smile because he lived. We can close our eyes and pray that he will come back, or we can open our eyes and see all that he has left. Our heart can be empty because we can't see him, or We can be full of the love we shared. We can turn our back on tomorrow and live for yesterday. Or we can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. We can remember him and only that he's gone. Or we can cherish his memory and let it live on. We can cry and close our minds, be empty and turn our backs. Or we can do what he'd want. Smile, open our eyes, love, and go on. This concludes our time here, ladies and gentlemen. But Dave will now take his final journey to the Wynyard Lawn Cemetery, where his ashes will be interred with his beloved son, Ray. As I said earlier, the family would love you to join them at the bottom pub. Love you to be at the cemetery if you wish. If you didn't sign the condolence sheet when you came in, could you do it as you go out? Would you please stand?
Well, it's all right, riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right, if you live the life you please. Well, it's all right, doing the best you can. Well, it's all right, as long as you lend a hand. You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring, waiting for someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring. Well, it's all right, even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's all right, sometimes you gotta be strong. Well, it's all right, as long as you got somewhere to lay. Well, it's all right, every day is Judgment Day. Maybe somewhere down the road away, at the end of the line, you'll think of me and wonder where I am these days. At the end of the line, maybe somewhere down the road when somebody plays, at the end of the line, the Purple Haze. Well, it's all right, even when push comes to shove. Well, it's all right, if you got someone to love. Well, it's all right, everything will work out fine. Well, it's all right, we're going to the end of the line. Don't have to be ashamed of the car I drive. I'm just glad to be here, happy to be alive. And it don't matter if you're by my side.